What is this company? This is interesting. Westward. This is a company that is now well cashed up. It is a Nevada exploration company. I promise I will talk more about this in the not too distant future. Okay, but I'm going to throw out a teaser, plug for them right now. When I say plug, I'm not really, trying to promo plug, but I want to give a little bit of feel for the geology that these guys are tackling. All right, I went to Google Earth and I literally took a screenshot of the area. Their property is basically towards the lower left of this image. It's not shown on there. I didn't have the shapefile to go in and plug it in, but basically it's around this Bald Mountain area. Okay, now where is this? This is kind of north central Nevada. The location is called Cortez, Nevada. If you want to look it up, you can go there. And in this image, believe it or not, there's over 100 million ounces of gold that have been produced or, in inventory and resources and reserves in the ground. Those kind of, scratching, areas up in the north and the center, those are big mines. Okay. The one in the upper left is Pipeline. Also Gold Acres is up there. The one that's more towards the center, that's Cortez Hills, as well as the old Cortez mines. Huge deposits, okay, 15, 20 million ounces, each of them. We also have Gold Rush. It's kind of hard to see, but Gold Rush is a drilled target or project that's to the east, so the right of Cortez Hills. And we have other deposits in inventory here. I won't go through the whole detail, but I love the Cortez area, and I've said this before in context of some other companies we've invested in, because if you look at the big districts in Nevada, okay, each one of these districts, for example, Carlin, they have a long history of exploration and mining, but then there's this one moment where the big one is found. Okay, in the case of Carlin, it was a Goldstrike deposit. Basically, Goldstrike, all of the mines up until that point were, a few million ounces, maybe up to 20 million ounces, something like that. But then, bam, they found this Goldstrike deposit, which was over 50 million ounces up in the Carlin Trend, which is, by the way, it's about 80 miles to the northeast from here. Okay, but the Cortez area, they've never found that big monster. Okay, that big monster. Okay, now, I have a bit of history with this project because I did a reconstruction for a company I used to work for, where I basically push Nevada back together pre-faulting to see how things lined up, what they look like. And I've talked about this before, like New Legacy. I still love that ground. It's a shame, like Kevin said, it's a shame they don't have money right now. I'd love to see them get back on their feet. But this is one of those other pieces of the puzzle, so to speak, that I really, really, really like. In fact, this was my number one target. New Legacy's ground was number two when I went out into the junior space and started working in exploration in this world. Okay, now this project has been tucked away for years. This project we're going to say it's right there at Bald Mountain, more or less. It's been tucked away for a long, long time, and nobody's really tackled it because it is what we call off trend. Okay, if you think of a trend as being linear, so like from Pipeline to Cortez Hills to Gold Rush to New Legacy, it's a straight line. This one is over to the southwest of that line. But there's something really interesting about Nevada. Over the past 20, 30 million years, the crust has been pulled apart. And so the different mountain ranges that we have across the state have actually pulled apart from one another and become detached. Okay, so that means that the geology of one can be matched up more or less with the other. And if you push this back together, voila, you got a whole picture. Okay, now notice the valley in the bottom there. It's kind of symmetrical. Like the margins of it go down and they go down like this. That's one of those, chasms, those open up, those valleys that have opened up through extension as the crust has been pulled apart. Imagine pushing Bald Mountain now back, push it back to the east here. And Bald Mountain would all of a sudden be more in line, not quite in line, but more in line with the Cortez Hills pipeline trend. You push that back over here, and it's getting close. Okay, now the target that these guys have developed, and they've done geophysics, they've done geochemistry, they've done all the hard yards, is probably under the word, under the OU on Bald Mountain. Somewhere around that location is where they're going to drill these first holes. They've identified a target that's really interesting. Very high arsenic values at surface, so it's telling us there's something coming up from below. But they also have really good geophysics. And I don't want to spoil the punchline because I will talk about this more another time. But I would say this is one of my most compelling targets in Nevada. I'm delighted to see this company pick this up. And these guys are young. They're full of energy. I do know some of the geologists who work here. I've worked with them in my career. Very smart people. And I think they've got a reasonable shot. Is there any promise they're going to make a big discovery? No, there's never a promise. But I do think they're in the right neighborhood, and seeing them get the support, the financial support, means the market is turning, guys. It's really encouraging to see these greenfield companies, these companies that want to go out on that big elephant hunt, get some money and go do big things. And we're proud to be supporters.